The views expressed on this holiday podcast special are those of the podcasters, any guests, and do not reflect any of the management, employees, sponsorships, or affiliates of thereof.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Do you ever feel alone during the holidays? I've been there before, and it's not a fun place to be, which is why I wanted to create a special for somebody like me back in the day. I just wish I had a listening ear, or maybe even heard stories that brightened up my time or my mood. I wanted that. So here's my gift to you. This is 12 Days of Christmas with me, Drę Rawka. I got some of my closest friends, and we talk Christmas. We talk about their favorite traditions and new ones as well. I hope you enjoy, and a very Merry Christmas from me to you.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Listen daily with my dad and his friends for 12 Days of Christmas. Only here on Unrestricted.
Merry Podsmas or Merry Christmas. Regardless, I'm just happy to be with you. I'm Drę Rawka. I am the host of the Unrestricted Show, host of the Isolation 20 podcast, one half of the Figure 4 podcast. And if you're listening to this right here, you either love Christmas or you got nothing better to listen or watch. No, I'm just playing. This is something that I've created over the last 3-4 years. And today in 2024, this series of Podsmas is a little different. Why? Because I hurt myself. Typically, we record 12 episodes in the month of November, and then we release them at the top of December. Now, my back decided it wanted to go out in, I would say 2 weeks ago. So late November, mid-November, it went out on me, and I had podcasts scheduled. I was ready to go do this thing. I was super excited about this year's Podsmas. I mean, the studio is gorgeous right now, and salute to my man Waldo and his wife. They helped decorate the whole thing, and it looks phenomenal. Which, by the way, if you are a family or if you want to take some nice holiday photos at our studio, you can definitely reach out to me or reach out to my friend Waldo. We are doing a fundraiser right now for Waldo's niece that was actually in a pretty severe auto accident. And we're trying to help her out with medical expenses and things like that. So if you are a family or if you want to take holiday photos, reach out to me. We're asking for $50 donations for a 20-minute photo shoot. You can't find a better deal for a holiday photo shoot, especially right now. So if you want to get those done, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to take care of you. And it's to help a great cause. And if this goes well, we'll do more of these kind of things, and we'll make more effort to do different type of photo shoots for you and your family. So so this year, Podsmas, this is looking a lot different. Usually I wouldn't be doing this type of content right now. It would be somebody else. It would be me, my friends. We'll talk current life situations. We'll talk their Christmases, what they did as traditions and things like that. But because of my back, we had to make Podsmas look a little different. But I'm happy to be with you. And today I wanted to talk about why I love this time of year, why I wanted to create this atmosphere of joy and stories and laughs, because let's face it, a lot of us don't have room for that right now. You know, a lot of us are worrying about bills and worrying about jobs. People are getting laid off. There's a lot of negativity going on. But this is my way of kind of shining a little bit of light during those times where it feels like nothing is going good, nothing is going great, nothing is progressing, right? When my back went out, I felt that. I felt like, dang, man, like I've been doing everything in my world, like everything in my power to not end up in this situation, because back in July, my back went out, and I told myself, like, as soon as I can get back up, I can get back in the gym, I'm taking this health thing very seriously. And I have. I mean, I've dropped a lot of weight. I think the total is like 63 pounds or something like that. And no, it has to be more than that. I have to be close to 70 pounds that I've dropped between July and December. So I'm on track to really reach my goals. And when my back went out, it sucked. It was like, geez, like I'm doing everything right, and now it has to happen to me. Why? So but these things happen. Setbacks happen in life. But that's what this podcast is about. Let's not worry about the setbacks. Let's not worry about the things that we can worry about later. The things that are gonna always be there, right? Back pain could flare up at any minute. Like, am I gonna get depressed about it? No. Like, let's try to have a good time with the family. Let's try to get back into the gym. Let's worry about how can we be better and put our best foot forward in this thing. So yeah, that's really why I wanted to create Podsmas and tell you stories and things like that. So the whole thing for me, the whole reason why I love this time of year is all from my dad. I grew up with a single father, and it was not easy. We grew up in poverty. We grew up with missionaries dropping boxes of food at our doorstep. We've, asking the city to pay our electric bills. I grew up in a project in North Portland when I was a young kid. I'm from Utah, born and raised in Utah, but I lived in Portland for 10 years out of my adolescent life. And for a few of those years, it wasn't a very long time, but for a few of those years, we lived in a project called Columbia Villa. It was the Columbia Villa Projects, and which is just government assisted living, right? Like every house looks the same, or every apartment looks the same. It's very minimum, paper thin walls. It's just, low income housing, if you will. Back in the 90s, this is like, now local income housing just looks phenomenal, right? You go to a project here in Salt Lake City, it's like, well, like, this dude lives at the Madison, this dude lives at the Marriott, but nah, not in Portland. In the Villa, it was not that. It was very much trap houses in every section, gangs. CVC ran those areas, which is Columbia Villa Crips. They were a branch off of the 60s in LA, and they didn't get along with the Hoovers, but the Hoovers were down the block too. So it was like it was a serious time. And it is a freezing December day. Your coffee's brewing. You're trying to stay warm. You can smell the holiday scents in the house. Grab your coffee, grab your hot cocoa, grab your beverage of choice, and I'll bring the stories. Hi, I'm Drę Rawka, and this is 12 Days of Podsmas. We'll be talking to some of your favorite people, getting to know what their childhood Christmas was like and what they're doing today.
Listen daily with my dad and his friends for 12 Days of Christmas. Only here on Unrestricted.
With my pops being a single father, obviously he wasn't, he didn't have a lot of money, but he worked his ass off. That's one thing about my pops you always hear me talk about, is that he made it feel like we weren't impoverished. He made it feel like during this time of year, I was just like any other kid. You know what I mean? Like he made sure we had the lights in the window. The tree was always fresh cut, and I don't know how he did it, but we always had a tree. We always had lights on the tree. We always had ornaments. We always had lights around the window on the balcony and all this stuff. And that always made it special for me, because he, knowing that we didn't have no money, he made it special. He made it very, very special. There was times where, Christmas morning, I would go out to the tree and all there was presents wrapped, but then there was several presents that weren't wrapped. And hindsight now, I realize that like the unwrapped toys were most likely the ones that were from the Salvation Army or missionaries or something like that. And I loved it all the same. There was one special Christmas where there was Donatello. I think it was Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael, the full Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set. Even had Bebop, Rocksteady, but it wasn't wrapped. And then it's like I didn't care. It was those were the toys that made me happy. And then my cousin Courtney, he got me my first Power Rangers. It was the If you're a 80s 90s baby, you remember these Power Rangers because you push the little belt and it would flip the head and it would transform into the Power Ranger, right? Yeah, those were toys that I got when I was a kid. And my dad, he would always play Christmas music, and early too. Like my dad would start playing Christmas music like before Thanksgiving, and he would just set the tone. He just set the tone, and he would just sing, the Temptations, always Motown Christmas. That's it. My dad, Motown guy. He's an old school dude. He drove a Monte Carlo, and he would sing these Motown songs, and it just, man, the smells of him baking, cinnamon rolls and bread and stuff. I'm like, damn, like hindsight. I'm like, how did you do all that? You're a single father. How did you have time to do all that? But that's what made this time of the year special for me. And even till this day, like I'll hear a certain song and it's like, boom, it reminds me of my pops, and it reminds me of the Northgate Apartments in Portland, Oregon, and driving down Columbia Boulevard and driving down Killingsworth and just seeing the lights around the neighborhood. Because that was one thing back in my day, back in the 90s, it seemed like all the houses were decorated. Now, me and my family would go around the block, and it's like there's one or two houses that have one strand of lights up. But back in the day, it was something special. It was like, oh, this is the time of the year. Everybody feels this feeling that anything is possible. If there was a hope in the sky, like it could happen in December. There was that feeling, and that's something that I want my kids to feel, and I want to bring on to my family. That's why whenever we get the chance, we want to make sure we decorate and go for the car rides and look at the different lights and listen to the music and find out which song is the kids' favorite song. Like my middle child, Amari, he loves Feliz Navidad, and so anytime that comes on, I'm like, yo, lately it's your song, it's your song. And we sing along, and my baby girl, she sings the Eagles with me. Please Come Home for Christmas. Like it comes on. That's my song. That's my favorite Christmas song. Well, one of my favorites. And she'll sit there and she'll sing it with me. And these are all things that me and my pops did. My pops' favorite songs, I turned into my favorite songs, and so I could kind of see that happening with my kids right now too. And these are cool things because it brings back core memories, the memories of where you were at that time, no matter if you had all the money in the world or if you had no money and you just barely got by, like it's going to bring back a good core memory of like, it's going to be all right. There's hope in the sky. There's hope in the air. And for me, that's what it's about, is that little hope of a better like tomorrow, not to get real sentimental or anything like that, but that's the truth. No matter what struggles we go through and that we hear and that we feel, it's like come December, come this time of year. And I don't know why it's just this time of year, but it just feels like there's a glimmer of hope. And there's a glimmer of like something special that you can be and do whatever you want. So if you don't take anything from this podcast today, if you don't take anything from this small message, it's that there is hope in the sky, and you can be your own hope, whatever it is that you want to go and accomplish. We're closing out 2024, and in 2025, it's a new calendar year. What does that look like for you? For me, it's continuing to better my health, continue this health journey. I'm capping 6 months of health focus come January. So, man, a lot of cool things to be inspired by, to be motivated by, and just to be thankful for and to have hope for, So, yeah, I think that's good. We have a short, small message, and I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, Podsmas this year looks different. I have some interviews that are recorded and ready to be edited and put out for you to consume this December. But then I also have some that haven't been recorded and that are on the schedule. And thank you to anybody and everybody that's helping me pull this thing off this year. it's always fun. It's always fun to do this, and I just appreciate you. If you would like to help support this channel, if you would like to help support this show, you can go on to allrock.com. That's ALLRAWK.com. Go buy a hoodie. Go buy a t-shirt. Go help support this. If you don't want to make a monetary donation, I know it's hard. Right now, it's the holidays. You're buying gifts for your family, your friends, the coworkers you don't like, but you want to be nice. You could just share this content. You can share it with a friend. You could tell a friend about the podcast. And that, too, helps tremendously. Now, there are going to be some changes to the podcast. There's going to be some additions that I am super excited about. And, you'll see all those changes come up next year. So, without further ado, I am out of here. I hope you and your family have a Merry Christmas. The next message, I don't know what it's going to be. We'll see. Maybe you'll get a guess. You have to tune in. Follow me on Instagram at Drę Rawka. That's DRERAWKA. And as I mentioned earlier, I do another podcast with my good friend, my brother, Will Wonder. It's called the Figure 4 Podcast, where we talk pro wrestling. So definitely go check that out at Figure 4 Podcast on Instagram. I hope you have the day you deserve. Always protect your light. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night. Peace.